You care too much about what other people think of you, and that's the simple reason behind every issue you encounter in life. Your unhappiness stems from your concern for other people's opinions. We're delving into the book, The Courage to be Disliked today, which was co-written by author Fumitaka Koga and Japanese philosopher and psychologist Ichiro Kishimi. Internal concern is always connected to the external environment for both. They clarify that worry that is fully defined by the individual does not exist. So-called internal worry is a myth. The shadows of other people are always there, regardless of the concern that may arise. Kishimi and Koga contend that life is only complicated because we make it so, and that all of life's issues are easily resolved. They say that having the guts to be disliked is all you need to be happy. They clarify that one shouldn't be afraid of being disliked. Other people don't like freedom, you just don't have the courage, not the confidence. They also clarify that having the courage to be disliked is a necessary part of having the courage to be happy. Your relationships with other people will instantly become lighter once you have found the courage to do so. We'll discuss the book's main lessons in this episode, such as the psychology of unhappiness, the futility of pursuing approval from others, and the author's suggestions for leading a genuinely happy life. The foundation of Kishimi and Koga's worldview is the conviction that everyone has the capacity for happiness, regardless of their past. The willingness to change is the primary distinction between happy and unhappy people. Alfred Adler, a psychologist, is cited in the book. According to Adler, our body, mind, emotions, and both conscious and unconscious thoughts all function as a single, cohesive whole to achieve a common objective. Even if we aren't totally conscious of it, Adler contends that everything we think, do, and feel is focused on reaching that objective. According to Adler, objectives not only influence our level of happiness, but also help to define who we are. According to this viewpoint, our sense of self is shaped by the objectives we set. Koga and Kishimi elaborate on this. They clarify that Adler views people through the prism of their lifestyle rather than concentrating on fixed personality traits. According to Adler, your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors comprise a lifestyle that you have chosen and will continue to choose because you think it is the most effective means of achieving a goal. Kishimi and Koga, for instance, would contend that there is no such thing as a truly antisocial individual. Rather, they view antisocial behavior as a decision, a means of achieving particular objectives. Kishimi and Koga expand on this notion by arguing that our objectives affect not just what we do, but also how we feel. You first choose what you want, and then you develop the feelings that will enable you to get it. Suppose someone is interested in a job, but is so nervous about the interview that they are unable to prepare or even show up. They believe they would have a better chance of landing the job if their anxiety subsided. However, Kishimi and Koga contend that they incite fear because their real objective is to avoid the interview. The individual isn't genuinely interested in the position. Their main objective is to minimize the possibility of failing the interview, and fear facilitates this process. The claim that prior trauma can prevent people from finding happiness is another topic that Kishimi and Koga discuss. Not everyone who experiences trauma is stuck in it, they respond. For instance, they contend that you still have the power to choose what goals to pursue and how to live in order to reach them. Even though bad childhood experiences may have an impact on your objectives. No experience alone determines our success or failure, according to the book. Instead of experiencing the shock of our experiences, the so-called trauma, we choose to use them to further our goals. Although our experiences do not define us, the interpretation we make of them does. Additionally, they explain that whatever has happened in your life thus far should not influence your future actions in the slightest. You are the one who makes decisions about your own life, living in the present. Why would anyone choose unhappiness if we could choose happiness? According to Kishimi and Koga, some people actually use unhappiness as a tactic to accomplish their objectives. The authors think that our emotions are influenced by the objectives we set. As we have explained, they contend that since everyone experiences disappointment or frustration occasionally, feeling unhappy occasionally is normal. Those who are constantly unhappy, however, frequently have a single annoying objective that has to do with their interpersonal relationships. This is significant because, according to Kishimi and Koga, the objectives you set for your relationships determine how happy you are overall. Stated differently, what do you hope to accomplish through your relationships with other people? Your level of happiness is influenced by your response to that question. According to Kishimi and Koga, there are two primary objectives when engaging with people: attempting to improve their lives or gaining their approval. People who are unhappy frequently make winning other people's approval their top priority. They think that being regarded favorably by others is the source of true happiness. Regardless of whether this approval is given by a parent, teacher, or society at large, it always results in unhappiness. In essence, unhappy people think that they are good people because they are liked by others. Many would contend that the need for validation and approval is a basic human emotion. Kishimi and Koga clarify that this is an incorrect perspective, though. They contend that because approval fulfills a deeper need inside of us, people find happiness in it rather than seeking it out. So why do people want other people to notice them? Kishimi and Koga claim that the influence of reward and punishment education is often to blame. They point out that there is a high cost even when unhappy people are able to win others' approval. They wind up living up to the expectations of others in their quest for approval. They ultimately give up their freedom and eventually their happiness in the process. It is incredibly unfree to spend your life attempting to determine the emotions of others and worrying about their opinion of you all the time. Kishimi and Koga contend that one will never be able to live according to their own way of life unless they are indifferent to the opinions of others, fear rejection, and are willing to pay the price of perhaps never being accepted. In other words, freedom will not be possible. In essence, receiving praise entails being judged by someone else. That person's yardstick is the measure of what is good or bad about that act. If obtaining praise is one's goal, then one will be forced to adjust to that person's standards and limit their own autonomy. We've shown that pursuing other people's approval is ultimately unsatisfying. However, if you make it your primary objective, this isn't the worst outcome. The true issue is that this objective is frequently unachievable. Meeting other people's expectations, which are out of your control, is necessary to gain approval. Sometimes you can't make someone like you, no matter how hard you try. According to Kishimi and Koga, unhappy people frequently respond by establishing a new goal or completely giving up on trying when gaining approval becomes impossible. They give up on pursuing the impossibility, rationalizing their choice by inciting feelings of fear and self-loathing.